The train is packed, it's hot, I'm tired and looking for a place to sit. Everything was occupied, but at one point I see an old lady get up and start making her way to the doors. I went over to sit in the new place, but found a purse in it instead, belonging to the girl in the window seat. I asked her if she could move the purse, but she didn't respond. I noticed she had headphones in, so I figured I'll just pick up the purse and hand it to her as I'm sitting down. As soon as I touched that thing, she went off on me with the most disgusted look and tone, asking me what the hell I was doing. I explained. She then had the nerve to lie that she was keeping the seat for her friend. I told her I knew for a fact she was alone because I just saw the old lady get up, to which she did not respond. So I started making my way down, forcing her to pick up her purse if she didn't want it crushed under my back. This released an even bigger tirade and series of "what the hell is your problem?" I saw another old lady looking for a seat and approaching ours, so I figured I'd had enough petty crap, turned around to the girl, who was slightly overweight, locked eyes with her and told her, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you actually needed 2 seats to be able to fit. My bad, I'll get up now." I got up and offered my seat to the old lady, who took it with a smile, seemingly ignoring the huge crap storm that was spewing out of the girl's mouth as I was walking away. I noticed some people gave me dirty looks, but others were chuckling, so I kinda wondered if I stepped too much out of line there. Everyone's the idiot here. I don't understand why you wouldn't just tap her on the shoulder if she couldn't hear you. Picking up her purse yourself was a bad move and probably made her very defensive. If I was in that situation, I would have thought you were stealing it, to be honest. I also think her lie may have been part of that. Sometimes if you feel threatened on your own, the smartest thing to do is say that you're waiting for a friend, because if anything dodgy was afoot, you might scare the potential offender off. Everyone's the idiot here. Is she horrible? No argument. In fact, the way she's acting sounds like it borders on some kind of mental illness. Way out of line. Nobody needs to put up with that crap. But there's something to be said for when they go low, you go high. You had a long list of things you could have said to put her in her place. Going after her appearance is the lowest hanging fruit, and, honestly, it's beneath you. Sure, she's an idiot, but that's not a free pass to be one too. And you know what? Your clapback wasn't even all that funny. I'm going with everyone's the idiot here. If the train was crowded, she should have just swallowed it up and let you have the seat. And while I understand her being defensive about a stranger grabbing her purse, I would be super alarmed if someone did that to me. Her reaction was completely unwarranted. However, joking about people's weight is never a good idea. Those kinds of offhand comments seem funny, but they can really ruin a person's day or their self-image. I still remember the dumb jokes kids would tell me about my weight, and it still bothers me to this day. I, 34, have been seeing my girlfriend, 28, for 4 years. We've talked about marriage and kids in passing. It's always been something we're both open to, but we're both quite career-minded, and that's been our focus. She and her brother both often joke and complain about the pressure they feel from their parents to get married. He's been in a relationship longer than we have and still not engaged, and I've seen as well how it's something their parents drop unsubtle hints about all the time. I don't think they mean it to feel like pressure, they just want their kids to be happy and they want to be grandparents. Anyway, I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I've reached that point in my life where marriage is increasingly appealing. I'm ready to make that commitment and I know she's the one for me. Her parents hosted a dinner party to celebrate us all being able to finally visit each other's houses again. It was me, my girlfriend, her brother, his girlfriend and our 3 sets of parents. It seemed perfect to me, so after dessert, I got down on one knee and proposed. She looked pretty stunned and said, I guess, and everyone laughed. All the parents started celebrating, her mother was crying, her father was opening champagne, we were all hugging. We went home later and I told her how happy I was to spend the rest of my life with her, and she started crying and saying she felt like she had no choice. This upset me, it was hardly the enthusiasm I'd hoped for, and I asked if she loved me. She said she did, and maybe she did want to get married, but the way I proposed made it feel like her answer was a foregone conclusion, and she didn't have time to think about it, and even now she knows that if she were to change her mind, she'd be letting everyone down and disappointing her parents. She said she wished I'd propose privately, so we could talk together about what it really means and what our future looks like, and she could be really 100% sure of her decision before announcing it to her family. She feels like I've removed her opportunity to prepare for her parents' reaction and make sure she was saying yes because she wanted to, instead of because of expectation. She says she's less sure than ever about our relationship because the proposal shows how little I know her or what she wants. I thought I was being romantic, and even if it wasn't her ideal proposal, I don't see why that should affect her answer. Our relationship's about more than just that one evening. Am I the idiot? It pains me to say this, but you are the idiot. She has a point. When I saw the title, I was ready for a story about some entitled girl who was mad that you didn't make some huge grand gesture with fireworks and crap, but she has a point on this one. By making a public spectacle out of it, you really did force her into a corner. Saying no in that situation is incredibly awkward, to the point that most people couldn't bring themselves to do it, and now, as she said, she feels kind of trapped into it because all those people saw her say yes and all got excited about it. You're the idiot. Public proposals put a huge amount of pressure on the person to say yes, especially in front of all of the family. You took what should have been a decision between the two of you to move your relationship forward and turned it into an obligation. Even if she wanted to say yes, you took away her agency in this huge life-changing decision. The fact that you can't see that is why she's feeling less certain than ever about your relationship. Try and understand her perspective because you clearly really missed the mark with this one. You're the idiot. Usually, this conversation takes place before a ring is even purchased. You literally talk about whether or not you want to marry each other, get engaged. You even talk about likes, dislikes for rings and proposal, etc. My now husband and I had this conversation a year before and again around 6 months before actually getting engaged. We agreed marriage and engagement to each other was something we both wanted and saw for our future, and on what timeline we each preferred. Communication is key. Active listening is key. I work remotely and have for the same company for about a year now. Even though I am work from home, I've created some friendships with coworkers across the country. Most of them I love like close friends. Recently, a gentleman from my group reached out to me asking if I would participate in a $100 Susu. For those of you that aren't aware, it's an easy way to use a community of people to fund a pot for a set amount of months, and each month someone in the community gets it. They are legal, and there are escrow accounts that make the process quite transparent. I trusted him, sent over my $100, and didn't much think about it until he started to tell me I needed to bring in 2 more people with $100 each. I became confused, as this is not how Susu typically works. To find out, those 2 people would need to bring in 2 people each as well for me to get paid out. It rapidly dawned on me that this is not a Susu. I quickly told my coworker I was no longer interested in participating. He told me that my money had now been sent to the group holder and I would not be able to get it back until I had my other people come in and they had theirs come in. By now, you can all see that this was just a misrepresentation of the entire scheme in order to place me at some level of a pyramid scheme. I am no longer worried about the money, but I am now being harassed daily by my coworker to find more people with money for this thing. I've made it very clear several times I am not interested, keep the money, I'm not playing this bizarre, exploitative game. At this point, I am ready to go to my boss because he simply will not stop bugging me about this thing. I don't want him to lose his job, but I'm also disgusted he would expose me to this. Am I the idiot for going to my boss? Not the idiot. I've had folks try to get me into this new age Susu going on. My Caribbean family has been doing these for as long as I remember, but it worked totally differently. You put the money in and each person got a payout in a certain month or week. It seems like the 2020 versions require that you bring in 2 people and they bring in 2 people and so on and so forth. I think it puts a huge amount of stress and pressure to convince folks to get in the pot. I'm all for the old way, but have been steering clear of the newer one. Not the idiot, of course. I'm guessing that he's being so insistent because he probably has other participants hounding him for when they're going to get their money too. He probably feels a teeny tiny bit like what Bernie Madoff felt when the Ponzi scheme started collapsing. Madoff, too, was making increasingly panicked calls to investors towards the end. As for I don't want him to lose his job, that's not your call. It's the company's. And if he does lose his job over this, he brought this all on himself. He should lose this job, and you shouldn't feel bad about that at all. If someone is preying on everyone else in the company to trick them all and steal from them, how can that criminal be allowed to stay at the company as a respected employee? He needs to lose this job in order to stop tricking everyone there, and perhaps if he actually is a good person after all who just got caught up in something he couldn't get himself out of, and he's not just a basic criminal at heart who will always try to get away with any tricks or exploitation he can. Then he will learn from this. So, growing up, my 27 parents always wanted me to be an architect. When I was in kindergarten they told me that's what I wanted to be. It was one of the first words they taught me how to spell. Every birthday I'd get a book on Frank Lloyd Wright or some architectural marvel and a new Lego set. There was never any question in their minds as to what I'd do when I grew up. And, well, I have a problem with being spineless, so I just rolled with it. I took the classes that would be relevant in high school, and in college I went and I studied architecture. I'm not bad at it, I don't think, and I got a job at a pretty great firm in my area after graduation. My parents are very proud and boastful, cause it's a very high-end firm. But, I don't like it. I'm good at it, I know what I'm doing, and I always get praise from my bosses, but it kills me every day. I'm as passionate about what I'm doing as I was about being a cashier as a teenager. Recently I got an offer to take a 3-month sabbatical from my work. I've been here for 4 years and am the favorite of management, plus I think they're rather looking for people to take time off since everything slowed the hell down. Unpaid but still, a break. I also got an offer from a rather rich older woman who I've known for a while and who's in my bubble to use the sabbatical as a trial run on being her sugar baby. We've gone on dates and slept together a few times, and she says she hates how stressed I am and wants to give me a chance to do college over again and study something I care about. I have the savings to do this, and I like and trust her, that's not the problem. The problem is that it would wreck my parents. They spent literally the first 18 years of my life trying to get me to be an architect, and I've made them so proud by doing what I do. Taking this opportunity would not only devastate them, it would make them a laughingstock in their community. I would be causing them emotional harm by doing this, I know it. So, would I be the idiot if I took this chance to turn my life around? Not the idiot for wanting to change careers, but I think you need to figure out A, what you want to do besides not this, since there's a decent chance you don't need to go back to school, or at least redo everything, and B, a way to support whatever retraining is required that doesn't involve going straight from living in your parents' shadow to leaning on your sugar mama. I know you say you trust her, but it sounds like you need to get used to being on your own 2 feet and living your own life more than even the job change. I think that a lot of people might be overlooking this because you have a sugar mama instead of daddy, but her behavior is very similar to grooming, alienating you from parents, getting you financially reliant upon her, appearing to be supportive of big changes in your life. If you burn a lot of bridges and go with this woman, you have no guarantee that she will continue to be as nice and supportive once you don't have any options. I don't guarantee that this is the case, but it certainly could be. Not the idiot, but don't plan on being a sugar baby as a career. As you get older, you will get traded in for a younger model, then what will you do? Make sure you have a backup plan. And yes, it will destroy your parents, but who says they have to know? You would also not be an idiot if you lied to them about how you're supporting yourself. I also don't think you'd be turning your life around, you'd be taking advantage of a very profitable temporary situation. Use this as a way to take some time off work and figure out what you really want to do with your life. My girlfriend and I have been dating for a little over a year and a half. She is vegan, and I have known this since before we were officially dating. I've never had an issue with this. She's a great girl and hasn't tried too much to push her vegan ideals and stuff to me. There have been a few times where she's made comments like "I can't believe you actually eat that" or "vegan food is so much better for you." I've shrugged these off as they haven't bothered me too much. I'll eat about anything, and I do love meat. I make an effort to try some of the vegan things she makes, but she knows that I don't like most of the stuff. For my birthday, I told her beforehand the restaurant that I wanted to go to. It was somewhere that doesn't really have good vegan options, and I did know this. When going out we always normally make sure that the place has good options for both of us. I figured that since this was my birthday that we could make exceptions though. I was working on my birthday. Our plan was for me to come home and open presents and then go out to eat. I arrived home and immediately smelled food when I walked in. I got into the kitchen and sure enough saw a lot of food laid out. I said, "Did you decide to cook yourself dinner?" She said, "No silly, this is all for you, happy birthday." I tried my best to look enthused, but I know that I had to look really disappointed. The food honestly looked terrible to me. Some vegan options are okay, but what she did was try to do mock versions of my favorite meals, which I always hate. I'd rather the vegan food be its own thing. She finally asked if something was wrong. I told her that while I appreciated the effort she put in, there was no way that I could eat this. She started tearing up and telling me how much work she put in to make it special for me. She said that she did this so we wouldn't have to go to the restaurant I picked because it sounded awful to her. She thought this would be a good compromise. I ended up driving out to get the food that I originally wanted. I tried to take it back by her place to eat it with her, but she told me not to and for me to leave her alone. I tried to apologize and tell her that I didn't mean to hurt her feelings. Was I the idiot here? Not the idiot. This isn't about it being vegan, it's about how you guys had a plan and she changed it. If I say I'm really excited to go out to eat because some place makes my favorite food, and I get home and someone in my family who's not a trained chef is attempting an imitation, I'm not super thrilled. And even if you'd otherwise be gracious about the change in plans, it was your birthday. Even if she hated the restaurant, she should have swallowed it up and dealt with it one day a year. Not the idiot. I'm big on your birthday, your choice, and you were very clear what you wanted. She took it upon herself to cook for you without any warning, knowing you didn't want vegan food for your birthday and that you wanted to go out to a specific place. You usually go to places you both like, you wanted this one restaurant on your day. That's reasonable. She didn't respect that. She's the idiot here, since she sprang it on you without asking or warning, knowing it's not what you wanted for your birthday. Not the idiot. I'm not a vegan. My sister's ex was. We always had them over for pool time, and I always made vegan-friendly alternatives to the regular food to make everyone happy. One particular time, she texted me saying, "You always buy the food to grill, let us buy it for once." Great. Turned out to be vegan hot dogs. They were unpalatable to me, so I had to say, "Why couldn't you let me know they were vegan ahead of time so I could have made my own for the rest of us?" I basically ate salad only. Not the idiot.